Awesome. So thanks for joining us, Hayley. We're really excited to hear from you. And lots of the people in my team know about you and have seen you speak. So we're just really excited to hear a little bit more about your story and hopefully learn a bit from you. So we got to spend some time together in Nepal, which was probably the most incredible experience to be able to get to know each other and spend that time together. So it was really great to spend that special time with you, and I love to be able to share some of you with my team. So thanks for joining. So would you be able to just start with how you got introduced to doTERRA and a little bit about how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, I went on a bit of a whim actually to a workshop. I got invited by a girlfriend, and I kind of, you know how you get those Facebook events, and I was like, oh yeah, interested in that, but it was midday on like a Tuesday. I couldn't go because my son was home, like he had his sleep, you know, as kids do at that time of the day. He was only about 18 months old. So I wasn't really intending on going. But that day, as it happened, was the only day my husband has been home sick from work. And I got a reminder that the event was coming up, and I just wanted to get out of the house, to be honest. Like, I literally just put my son down for a sleep, and my husband was comatose on the couch. And I'm like, Emma's having lunch. Can I pop out for an hour? So it was actually really exciting just to get out of the house. And I from the town I live in. I live in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales. And yeah, we were just in a cafe with me and another lady, and this lady running a workshop. She'd made some bliss balls, and she had the Empower kit out, and she literally just read off the form. But the interesting thing was, for me, I think, was it actually recognised the brand, because the event itself just said essential oils. I didn't know it was doTERRA. But I had been looking for fluoride-free toothpaste and a few other toxic-free chemicals, toxic-free products to reduce chemicals in my home. So when I saw it was that company, and then I had the toothpaste, and I was like, well, I'm sold, clearly. And I had a few other things in my home that I was working on at the time between myself and my kids and my husband. I said, well, if it's half as good as you say it's going to be, it's going to help somehow. So I really kind of enrolled on a whim. And yeah, everything kind of went from there. So it was a bit unique, not expected at all, but I think the universe worked in my favour in that instance.
Yeah, awesome. So were you working at that stage? Did you have another job?
No, I was a stay-at-home mum. I had finished up work after I had my first daughter. So that had been, at that stage, I guess 3.5 years I'd been out of employment, and we'd just kind of scraped by with just cut down expenses and things so we could make do on the one income, my husband's income. So, you know, we were doing okay, but every month we were just basically scraping through. So I was kind of used to that. So any form of additional income, I guess I wasn't really looking for it. And when I had enrolled, I wasn't interested in the business opportunity at all. If anything, my perception of what doing the business was, it would have really turned me off if I had been pushed into that early on. What had happened for me was when I enrolled, she actually gave me a bottle of lime for enrolling, and I had to use it that night, believe it or not. So I didn't even have my kit yet. And my son had, like as I said, my husband was homesick. We were all unwell. So my son just had this cough that kept him up in the middle of the night. And I went to the cupboard and I couldn't find my Panadol or my Nurofen, and I'd used it the night before and the night before that, and it wasn't there. And this little bottle was like looking at me on the counter saying, well, I have no idea what I do with that. So luckily I listened during the class because she said download the app. So I'd done that, and I typed in lime, and it came up that it was a restorative and it was a tonic. And I said, well, close enough. You know, I know people use lemon and things for sore throats, so this is worth a shot. So I literally like touched the top of the bottle with my finger, poured water over my finger into some water, and I gave him a sip. And it would have been, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds, and it just stopped. Like, his discomfort had just stopped, and he had just gone back to sleep. And I was 2 o'clock in the morning as a mum saying, what the hell is this stuff? And from that point, I just basically used my girlfriend as a guinea pig, and my neighbour and her friend and her husband, and it started to work for everyone, and everyone wanted these oils. So I just literally ran with it. I didn't think about it too much at all, really. I did a bit of a video actually today. I was saying, you know, when you've got like a pool, a swimming pool, some people put their foot in and test the temperature of the water. Some people go step by step by step and really like prolong the pain of getting into the water. Where I just kind of just dove straight in and went, oh my God, it's really cold. And then went, oh, okay, I'm good now. So I said to my team, I don't want you jumping into the water if it's murky or if it's stuff floating in it. But the cool thing about doTERRA is that the water is crystal clear, and there's people already swimming in there and having fun. So you must just jump straight in and, you know, give it a go, because you learn as you go. You'll never know enough to start. Like, you just got to start and then figure it out.
That's so awesome, Hayley. Love it. So how long after that were you like running classes and building a team?
I didn't run classes for a really long time. I was really uncomfortable with that whole seem to be network marketing kind of thing. I actually was really uncomfortable talking to small groups of people, like having like 5-10 faces looking at me, and I didn't feel articulate enough to kind of have the content that I wanted to share. So I did one-on-ones. I just did one-on-one after one-on-one after one-on-one, and really connected with the people who I wanted to help, because that's the whole reason why I was sharing in the first place, because I just thought these oils were awesome and I wanted to help people. So I literally just, and it was great because I had 2 children home with me full time every single day, so no daycare, nothing. So I just worked around them, like play groups, coffee dates, you know, oh, my kids are asleep, come over to my house, that kind of stuff. And I did that from October, well, I enrolled in October, and probably ran my proper first workshop in April, believe it or not. I think I might have run 1 or 2 with like a handful of people by sheer coincidence because someone else cancelled. But honestly, no one else was sharing in my team. It took me in the 5 months, October, November, December, January, February, March, 6 months, I enrolled 50 people in those 6 months, or 5.5 months. So I was doing lots of one-on-ones. And maybe out of those 50 people in my team, 5 weren't enrolled by me. Yeah. So I had someone calling their sister or something, but no one had put their hand up for a workshop or anything. But I wasn't putting that out there either. You know how that whole vibe thing, I just wasn't looking for it. But come April, I really pulled my finger out, and after convention and things like that last year really changed things for me. And just kind of figured, what am I doing here? Like, am I doing this or am I not doing this? So I really stepped out of my comfort zone then. I flew into state. I ran all these workshops. I just did back to back to back and just kickstarted April with a gusto. That was the Rose and Jasmine promo last year. And yeah, I went from elite to silver in that month. So my team doubled. I got 50 people into my team in that 1 month by doing that. So it was crazy, the momentum that workshops create.
Yeah, that's massive. So you didn't do diamond or anything like that last year?
No. I really tried actually to get to Premier in December, but I just didn't get the volume up. So I was still elite. I was still elite even in February at convention. So I was still elite in March. Yeah, so I didn't qualify for Diamond Club. And to be honest, I probably couldn't have made that commitment with my 2 young children and my husband working full time. I just wouldn't have worked for me. That said, I did my own, because I literally went somewhere every single month. I traveled every single month just on my own back. I invested every cent that I made back into traveling and to growing my team and doing that kind of thing, because I live in a small country town. So the faster you can get out of the small country town, the faster you're going to grow. So in the end, I actually kind of have a leg in each kind of state now. It's just worked out that way, but it's really nice. It just means a bit more travel for me. Sorry, I've got notifications popping up everywhere.
That's all right.
I'm just going to put my thing down a little bit. Yeah, so I don't know if that helps you, but yeah, I didn't do Diamond Club, but I totally agree that travel is the way to grow your business. and most people can't afford to do it without Diamond Club. So it's an amazing program, huge. I wish I could do it this year, actually. They just wouldn't let me.
Yeah, same. So do you think that, so obviously you do, but can you just talk a little bit about the value of attending things like convention, even when you are in those lower ranks?
Oh, I think it's the most important time to go when you're in those lower ranks, because you learn things that people don't learn until later in the down the track. And if you can learn the really critical lessons straight away, you're in a much better position. Like, with structure is so important. And I think I learned some really key things to do with structuring that really supported me moving forward as it grew. And obviously, you know, a lot of it's a guessing game, but you've just got to hold a space for what you envisage your tree to kind of look like. And I remember, like, I have girls come over and we're going on the back office and they see my tree and they go, holy crap. And I go, I remember seeing that. I remember that. I remember when Jessie used to show her back office and do some bits and pieces. I'm like, oh, where are all these people come from? And I had like this little tree, and it just happens, you know, you would know, it just happens. So, yeah, I think it's really important to get to things like convention. When you see the owners, when you hear from some of the other leaders, even the people you sit next to, you know, you just build up a conversation with, and you keep bumping into people like lining up for dinner or lunch or something. They're the connections that you make at these types of events that you can't make anywhere else. That's where I met Chantal Rolfs. That's where I met Chrissy Worthy. So Chrissy and I were both elite this time last year at convention. And we were like sitting there going, I don't know anyone, you know, what are we doing here? And now look at us both. Like, we were reminiscing about that just the other day, saying this has just been a crazy 12 months. So you can't not go to this kind of stuff. Even if there's any remote interest in the business, it's the best investment that you can make to really find out whether it's worth your while.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so tell us about, so from April you went from elite to silver. Tell us then your journey to diamond. Okay, so from how I got elite to silver was purely by, I guess, planning, because I did have 3 legs, and 3 people activated, 1 in each of those legs, that say, I'll do some workshops for you. So it was really just an opportunity of volume and right placement at the time that allowed me to fill that out to silver. And then the momentum from that into May created gold, again, just through structure and planning and I guess preparing for that in the future anyway. So that was really handy. But then I stayed at gold for quite some time, a few months. I think I dropped back to silver maybe one of the months and then back up to gold. And it was just gold there for a while. But my team was still growing. It was still growing. And then I was kind of running a little bit wider than most. I think I'd started my 4th leg already, and yeah, she just basically came to me. I thought it was going to be a platinum month for me, the month I ranked diamond, but she said to me, no, I want to go silver. And she was like executive, maybe just elite, and I'm like, really? But she was serious, and she had 2 friends in 2 different legs wanting to build. So I was like, okay, one leg each, guys, let's go. So it was my time from ranking ranking silver all the way through to September. It was just constant personal development for me and really constant workshops. I like trying to really get a consistent approach to the business, the basic business activities that you need to do to grow your business. You just got to do classes. I would have a day, at least one night in my home every single night. I've got like an area set up, so I could always have something to invite people to. That was really easy. I would always just slot in one-on-ones wherever I could. I found that really great and a great way to keep the turnover going. And then I would offer to run workshops for other people as much as anyone would want. And I would also book in normally a state to visit each month as well, if not 2 trips in the month, but normally just 1. So I was trying to support as many different legs as I could all at one time.
The problem I found later on is probably I had supported too much to a certain extent, and this has been part of my journey where you need to be conscious of empowering and not enabling and all that kind of thing. So I had a goal, and so I think it's really important that if you have a goal, not to just wait for everyone else just to do it for you. You have to step up and own it yourself. So I was definitely doing that. But at the same time, you don't want to burn out and you don't want to put people into positions that they don't want to be in. My team was super, super supportive. So I'm really, really grateful for all of them. That said, moving forward, I'm definitely ranking off of different people now as time has grown and gone on, and different people have stepped up. So just be conscious that you don't have to put all your chickens in one basket. You know, like, it's really important that you can actually have backups in other legs. So I don't have any issues with building in depth at all, because one of the persons I was building was ranking off for silver, or for diamond. She was silver, was on level 6. So, you know, there's I don't find, and that just meant I had 5 people above her that was getting really well supported by uni level. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bonus with all this kind of stuff. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Okay. So how many classes do you think you were sort of doing a month to rank events that quickly?
A lot. I think when I was, because Jessie was kind of saying, oh, we have to do like maybe, I thought maybe I could do 2 a month. Like, you know, maybe 1 a week, maybe, definitely not more than 1 a week. And I ended up, once I actually sat down with my calendar, and like 4 or 5 one-on-ones or workshops a week, easy. Yeah, that was a week. So that could be something like 20 or 30 a month, between one-on-ones and workshops, which sounds crazy when I think about it, but it really wasn't. It was like, oh, I'm catching up with this girlfriend then for a coffee, and we're going to talk about oils, and then I'm going to catch up with this girl. It was really, really social for me, which was nice. So it didn't feel, I mean, I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel like work, really. No. No, it doesn't. So I think if you're pushing things too hard, if it's not feeling right for you, I think you have to honour that. So you don't want to be putting yourself into positions that I mean, that said, you have to get out of your comfort zone. Like, you've got to speak to people that you wouldn't normally speak to. There was actually a turning point, which I can explain to you, I think, with it, for me personally, and it was speaking to people who I didn't know, because after a while you run out of your warm market, which you would be aware of, and then most of the people that you start coming in, you really haven't had a relationship before doTERRA. And I was at a swimming lesson, and this woman who had, obviously her daughter was in the pool, but she was getting really upset in the water, and I had this lump in my throat saying, you know, I'm wanting to say to her, I've got like some balance in my bag and it's helped my son and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, no, Hayley, don't interrupt. It would be rude. And all, like, it's just this like, you know, little voices inside my head saying, yes, no, yes, no. Anyway, I said, like, you know, just do it, Hayley. What's the worst that's going to happen? So I did. I just kind of mumbled out something like, oh, Bert, and my son was exactly the same. I said, but I have put some oils on him, some essential oils on him. It's really calmed him down. Do you want some for your daughter? And she was like, oh, yes, please, I will try anything. The funny thing, though, that happened just then was there was a lady sitting next to her who was head to toe covered in tats. And you probably wouldn't even look twice at her. And she goes, essential oils, I love essential oils. My mum used to use essential oils on me when I was a kid. And then the lady in the pool who's teaching the class, are you talking about essential oils? There's a boy that comes and he smells of oils and he's much better at concentrating now. I'm pretty sure it's essential oils. And so all of a sudden, everyone was saying they wanted to know about the essential oils just because I stepped out of my comfort zone and asked if I could help someone. And that's what I always tell people. You don't know what your voice will offer people. You know, you don't know what these oils will offer people without offering the chance to help someone without any precursor of wanting something back in return. So yeah, that was a really cool changing pivot moment for me.
Yeah, that's so good, Hayley. Good on you. And so many people would just keep quiet and think, no, I don't want to intrude or something like that. So that's just beautiful that you were thinking of them and you had your heart at the centre and you just wanted to help them. So that's really beautiful. So can you tell us about social media? Did you have like any sort of social media following, or did you just start that when you started your business?
No, I to be honest, I still really don't, but no social media following. No, like I had a couple hundred friends maybe on Facebook. None of my business has really been focused around social media. I'm literally only just starting my website now. Like that's how slack I've been. That said, the first thing I basically did was create a public page for my doTERRA activity, because I kind of knew I didn't want to bombard my social page with it all. So I just started up a page, and I've completely changed its name. I've completely rebranded it in the meantime. So don't feel like, oh, once I do it, it has to stay put. You can change it, because I did. When I found my why in April, like I changed it in April. So I had a different kind of branding for the first 6 months, but that was okay. I just invited every single person I knew to it. And I did get people calling me up out of the blue saying, oh, you're doing doTERRA, I need oils, and just ordering like hundreds of dollars of oils over the phone. No samples, nothing. So that showed me you don't have to be in someone's living room to share these oils with someone. I had moved 10 times in 10 years, so I didn't really have a strong network where I lived. I had lots of people, lots of places. So I didn't have the luxury of being able to just go see everyone I knew. So I had to figure out another way to do it. So really, I would just make lots of phone calls and just talk to people. If I'd seen something, if I knew that they were going through something, I'd just call up and see if I could either send them, I just called them like a care package with some information or some samples for them. But most of the time they just said, wow, you're really like serious about this. Like your enthusiasm is infectious. And I'm like, and that actually's come up a few times, people saying like your enthusiasm is infectious. If you're enthusiastic, people are like drawn to that. I think that's really important to focus on, is your love for the product, because people will see that and they'll feel that and they don't need a sample. I was saying to a girlfriend the other day, you know, if you go to the doctors, they don't go, well, here's one of the tablets, try that, and if you like it, I'll give you the rest of the box. You know, like a lot of the time people might need samples, but a lot of the time they might not. Because if this is a journey and if this is something that people grow and learn about, if you give them a lavender, they might be quite close to what that lavender can actually do for them, or for the rest of the oils that they don't know or aren't familiar with. So if you can kind of more promote the lifestyle and just the changes that it's occurred to you and them, that's where the trust you can build with these people and really allow them just to go, okay, let's go.
Yeah, awesome. So most of the people that have joined you for the business, so people that are now your leaders in the business, how did most of them come on board? Like, did they come on board for the business or start with the oils, or how did most of your leaders come on?
No, there's only been one lady who contacted me saying that she was she'd done a previous network marketing industry, like an MLM before. But she'd been stalking me. We went to university together and stuff, so we were good friends. And she just said she just loved what I was doing and was really interested in the oils, and she'd used oils as a child and stuff. So she was more interested in it from a business perspective. But most of the time, everyone else has really just been, but I've actually given them space to allow them to step up and own that part of the journey for them. So I've like, even the first person who ever enrolled with me, who, you know how I said about the lime, she came over the very next morning and had the exact same thing, like with like cough thing. I gave her a drop of lime in her water bottle. She messaged me at 10 to 7 the next morning and she wanted the kit because of that one drop of lime oil. So she enrolled before I even got a kit. She had enrolled, and when I was in Nepal, she messaged me. I think I might have told you. She's like, I want in like 18 months, whatever, 20 months later, she wants in. She wants to do the business. Like, she's ready. She's ready to go. I just had to hold the space for her. I knew she would. Always knew she would want in, but I couldn't make her see it before she was ready. So that's why I'm saying, like, grow your business. If you've got growth, if you've got rank goals, grow your business, enroll people, place them where they need to be placed, as in not for rank, for love and for nurturing long term. And then from there, you'll start to rank off of those people, but then other people will start to pop up and you can rank off of other people later down the track. So that's what I'm finding now, that there was people that were there because they trusted me and they allowed me to, they supported me growing my business and they supported me running workshops. Whether they're going to be there forever running the business with me, I don't know. Maybe I would love them to be. But at the same time, I've got flexibility in my tree now that if someone else is coming up and wanting to be a silver or a gold or a diamond or a presidential or whoever, I've got space for them as well in my business as well. So I would say, just to answer your question, most early days, people weren't interested in the business, but I think that's also because I wasn't interested in the business. So now I think people who I'm attracting are interested in the business because I'm interested in the business. And that's, I've done some mentoring with other people in different teams, and they've just gone like, all these people are causing me headaches. And I'm like, it's one thing I haven't actually got a headaches in my team, which is fantastic. But I kind of said, where is this issue a part of you? Like, how is this a reflection of you? And I know that we grow, but maybe other people don't. So we can see that in ourselves now. So just know that reflects the person that you used to be coming into the business, and that might not serve you moving forward. So just know if you do change the way that we think and we feel, we're going to be attracting a different type of people into our team, and then our culture within our team is also going to change. So we do have full control over that as well.
Yeah, perfect. So was it 10 months or 11 months it took you to get to Diamond?
11,
yeah. So it took you 11 months to get to Diamond. So when you decided you were all in with the business, were you going for Diamond? Like, did you have a goal to get to Diamond and a timeline? Like, was that something you were really going for?
I had a goal. Jessie always, because I'm in Jessie Reimer's team, and she always says, act like a diamond from day one. And I can't, because I was in a part of a tree that wasn't pivotal to anyone's else ranking and things. I wasn't really on anyone's front line. I was just kind of in someone's structure. So that just meant I had to step up and go, well, okay, this is me. I have to create whatever I want to create. So it was good and it was bad. It was bad because I didn't feel like what the work I was doing was going to help someone else long term. But at the same time, it gave me the flexibility and the freedom to create my own vision. And I think I try and instill that in everyone in my team, is that you're the CEO of whatever you want to create. So it's really important just to focus on what's happening underneath you and what you have control over, and not what is going above you as well. So I would say, I can't even remember what question you asked.
So were you going for Diamond?
Oh, was I going for it? Yeah. So I had up on my whiteboard, for whatever reason, silver in 6 months for my birthday in April. And I was like, had no idea why. Like, I just kind of thought, well, that's a kind of a nice goal. And then as that was April, so March I was still elite. So basically having that on the whiteboard and me not wanting to rub it off, and then not wanting my husband to go, ha ha, told you so. Like all of these things going, well, I've got to pull my finger out. So all of these things kind of made me really pull my finger out in April to reach my goal. That said, I've always had goals. I've always really focused on goals. Every single month I manifest what I want to. How many people in my team I wanted to be sharing to. Attracting builders for myself, but also other people into my team, other builders in my team as well. So I was trying to manifest for them as well as myself, until they were ready to step up and own it for themselves. Once I got people building and sharing, I was planning for Diamond. I was planning for the legs and for the structure, and just like I'm still planning for gold for Blue Diamond at the end of the year, and presidential in the future. Like, I'm always 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. I think that's really important, not to be planning for right now too much, because you will make decisions that aren't going to serve you long term, because you want to place that person just to rank, or you want to place that You want to enroll this person this month, even though it doesn't suit them, and then you're going to piss them off when really they probably want to wait until next month. So the other good mindset that you can have early days is, I was like, well, I'm running out of leads, so I'm not going to enroll them this month. I'll hold off and enroll them next month, because otherwise I won't have anyone to enroll next month. I don't know if you ever went through that, but that was like a lack mentality I kind of had to pick myself up on. And now I think, well, hang on a second. If I enroll them this month like I was always going to, then that's an opportunity for them to go into Loyalty Rewards for the following month, for them to share the word with someone else, for them to host another workshop, and maybe they'll bring in 5 people next month, where otherwise I won't get that next month. So now I'm not holding off of enrollments so much, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's another big thing. But definitely, you've got to plan ahead. You just have to. Yeah.
Awesome. And can you just tell us about your husband? Was he on board straight up?
He's sitting over there. No. No, I mean, he was very supportive.
Yeah.
He was very supportive, like, but at the same time, I think when you've had your wife at home for all these years and then she's off doing something, you're like, what the hell's going on? The house is a mess and you've been sitting at the computer all day, or, you know, you're up till the wee hours of the morning. So a lot of my work I was doing was at night, because I would have the kids during the day, I'd put them to bed, and then I would do like 5 hours of work between like 7 and midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So, you know, he was very supportive with all of that stuff and picking up a bit of the slack. But at the same time, it wasn't even silver, it was probably more gold that, you know, he gave me flowers and said congratulations and all that kind of stuff. I was doing it a little bit isolated outside of normal situations. But that said, now, like, he's come to convention, he's come to Fiji, Ben's all over it. He's all over it. He's amazing. He's my IT support. So if I need anything, like, he's, you know, all sorts of things, cameras, webinars, phones, emails, all that kind of stuff. He's helped in the way that he can help. And now he's been a part more of the doTERRA culture with the events and things. He's really starting to see the vision and the potential that this has. But he'll be finishing up work and joining me and doing all of that kind of stuff now too, which is super exciting. I'm so excited that I can give. But actually, that said, that was always my plan, if that makes sense. Even if you didn't know it, like, that was my plan, that this was something, I saw a vision in doTERRA that I could support the family financially doing something I really loved and give him the flexibility and the choice to do something that he loved. Like, if he doesn't love his job anymore, he doesn't have to stay there just to support the family financially anymore. So he was in a really good job. He's an engineer and he's very good at his job, but maybe it's just not where his heart is anymore. So at least now we have that opportunity to look into other things for him. And if it's doTERRA, fantastic. And if he decides after a while he wants to do something else, that's fine too. But at least he can find his purpose, his journey, something that makes his heart sing too. So that was always in the back of my mind as well.
Yeah, beautiful, Hayley. So just one more question, and if anyone else has anything they want to put in the chat section, feel free. But I know that you took your 2 little kids to Queensland with you for convention, and I know you spoke about taking them along to the US later in the year for convention. So can you just let us know the change that this has made for your family, and like what this business means for you and your family?
I think that's exactly like what I was just saying as well. It's the flexibility and the freedom that we can do and live anywhere we want. So we're living in a country town, which is probably not where we would want to be living normally if it wasn't for work. So once we have that detachment from a 9-to-5 job, we can pick anywhere in the world we want to live. As long as I have Wi-Fi and I'm close to an airport, I can run this business anywhere. I could homeschool my children if I wanted to. You know, you can travel around Australia if you want to. My children can see parts of the world that they wouldn't normally have gotten to see. I mean, I got to go to Nepal. Kim, we got to go to Nepal. Like, there's no way I would have ever done that if it wasn't for doTERRA. And now I just want to do more and more. So, and I want to involve them and bring them along to things as well, as much as I possibly can, because I think that's part of it. I mean, the best thing about this business is that it's for the next generation. this isn't going anywhere. You know, this empire that I'm building is completely willable. I can step aside and my daughter can step into my position on my tree and run my oily empire for me. You know, that's huge, like any other bricks and mortar organization that doTERRA give you. So that's huge. I mean, normally when you leave a job, like, that's it. You get a gold watch and that's the end of it. My daughter, actually, I don't know if I've got it here, she drew a picture I put up on my page, my personal page. My daughter's very good at drawing graphical trees with the circles and the lines and the circles and the lines and the circles and the lines. And so she's like, look, Mummy, we're building an oily business together. And she'd written Mum and Emma and oils and drawn her little tree. And it's just like, yeah, we are, darling. Like, this is all for you anyway. Like, it's the best thing that I think mums and dads. I find this is great for lots of dads. More dads are doing this now. More guys are doing this now because they're seeing the change in themselves, in their family. And I think there's something really masculine about using something from nature to support their family. I don't think it's this airy-fairy thing anymore. I think guys are really starting to wake up to the fact that these oils just work. And there's so much science that I can really tap into a guy's head with these oils as well. It's not so airy-fairy for them. So I've got lots of guys in my team as well, but not many are building and things yet, but there's a few. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting journey and one I'm so grateful to be on and get to meet awesome people like yourself. And I think outside of my family, it's the other families we're meeting that makes the biggest difference. I think doTERRA as a whole is a family, and how connected everyone is beautiful. I was actually really sad leaving convention. Not as sad as leaving Nepal, but I was really sad leaving convention because when you make such great friends and then you don't get to see everyone anymore, like, you just kind of go, oh, I'm going to have to wait till leadership.
I know. It seems
So,
like a long way, doesn't it?
yeah, it really does. And, you know, everyone that this business attracts such awesome people, and they're all probably watching this right now. So, oh, here you go. Ronnie's saying she was so sad leaving convention too. So, yeah, it's just such a nice way to bond with people and things. And my kids, I'm sure, will make friends with other doTERRA kids and things too. So, for me, just to finish up, it's teaching my kids another way to look after themselves. So that's probably the biggest change I've seen in them. Is like, my son scraped over, he's got this big hole on his elbow, and he's like, oil. You know, like he knows what his body needs. If they've got a sore tummy, they lift their shirt up and they go, oil, you know. So they know it works and they don't know why, and it doesn't matter to them. They just know that it works. So that's enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much for speaking with us. I really appreciate it, and it's so good to hear your voice again and see you again, and I can't wait to see you at leadership. But thank you, Hayley. I appreciate it.
That's okay, lovely. Hi to the team. You've got a beautiful leader there. Kim's awesome. I slept next to her and she doesn't snore. So there you go. Yeah, you're awesome, Kim. I love spending time with you in Nepal. You're fantastic.
Oh, thanks, Hayley. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so this has all been recorded. I might stop the recording.